the secret world of courtesans history tried to hide. For centuries, they were called dangerous women, temptresses, moral threats. But behind the velvet curtains of Europe's most luxurious salons stood a truth few history books dare to admit. Some courtesans earned more than judges, artists, and factory owners combined. They dined with kings, advised politicians, influenced wars, and in certain cities, they were registered, inspected, and protected by the state itself, while exhausted women returned home from factories with burned hands and broken backs. Others waited in line for a chance to enter a different world, one filled with silk dresses, chandeliers, opera houses, and astonishing power. The question is not whether courtesans existed. The real question is why society condemned them publicly, while secretly building entire economies around them. In Paris during the 1860s, the city transformed into the glittering capital of Europe under Emperor Napoleon III. Wide boulevards replaced medieval streets. Cafes glowed late into the night. The wealthy paraded through theaters in jewels and velvet, and hidden behind this image of elegance was an entire parallel society built around elite courtesans known as les grandes horizontales. They were not simply entertainers. They were celebrities before celebrities existed. One of them was Cora, an Englishwoman who arrived in Paris with almost nothing. By the 1860s, she had become one of the most desired women in Europe. Princes competed for her attention. Newspapers described her dresses in obsessive detail. At her peak, she owned horses, carriages, servants, and estates that ordinary workers could never dream of obtaining in a lifetime. One story claimed she once appeared at a private dinner almost entirely covered in pearls, served on a silver platter as the centerpiece of the evening. Whether exaggerated or not, the story spread across Europe because people wanted to believe it. The fantasy mattered as much as reality. But here is the detail that shocks modern audiences most. In many European cities, prostitution was not hidden from authorities. It was regulated. In France, women working in registered brothels were monitored by the police and subjected to medical inspections under laws developed during the 19th century. Officials argued this system maintained public order. Critics called it institutional hypocrisy. Wealthy men could participate freely while the women themselves remained trapped under strict surveillance. And yet for many poor women, becoming a courtesan was one of the few paths to escape crushing poverty. By 1848, Europe was exploding with industrial growth. Factories swallowed entire neighborhoods. In textile mills across England and France, women worked 14-hour shifts in suffocating heat for wages barely enough to survive. Historical records from the period describe workers fainting beside machines and children sleeping on factory floors. In contrast, elite courtesans occupied luxurious apartments near opera houses and government districts. The difference between those two lives became impossible to ignore. That contrast created fascination and fear because courtesans represented something deeply unsettling to 19th century society. Women who gained influence outside traditional marriage. In Victorian London, where public morality was preached constantly, secret worlds flourished behind closed doors. Expensive clubs catered to aristocrats. Private parties blurred the lines between politics, entertainment, and intimacy. Newspapers officially condemned these women while readers devoured every rumor about them. Entire gossip industries emerged around famous courtesans. And then came someone even more extraordinary, La Belle Otero. Born Agustina Otero Iglesias in Spain in 1868, she grew up in extreme poverty. According to later accounts, her childhood was marked by violence and instability. Yet by the late 19th century, she had reinvented herself in Paris as one of the most influential women in Europe. Kings, bankers, and military officers pursued her obsessively. It was rumored that several powerful men ruined themselves, financially trying to keep her attention. Some historians even claimed political decisions shifted because of rivalries surrounding her social circle. But Otero understood something crucial long before modern influencers or celebrities existed. Attention itself was power. She carefully controlled her image. She turned mystery into currency. Journalists followed her movements across Europe. Designers copied her fashion, Men projected fantasies onto her, while she transformed those fantasies into wealth and independence in a world where most women legally possessed very little control over their own finances. Still, there was another side rarely shown in glamorous paintings. The life of a courtesan was often terrifyingly fragile. Aging could destroy everything. Illness could erase status overnight. Protection from wealthy patrons could vanish instantly during economic collapse or political scandal. Some women died forgotten and impoverished despite years of luxury. Others became trapped by addiction, debt, or exploitation behind the scenes. And beneath the glitter of Paris existed darker realities. In the lower districts of 19th-century cities, thousands of women entered prostitution not through ambition, but survival. Historians studying police archives from Paris and London found repeated stories of widows, abandoned wives, and unemployed seamstresses who turned to sex work after factories cut wages or food prices exploded. Many earned just enough to avoid starvation. This is what makes the history so uncomfortable. Society often divided women into respectable and fallen, yet the same economic systems pushed many toward impossible choices. Wealthy men moved freely between both worlds, while public shame landed almost entirely on women themselves. And then came the 20th century. Suddenly, the world that had sustained the great courtesans began collapsing. World War I shattered Europe's aristocracy. Empires disappeared. Economic instability destroyed fortunes. The extravagant salons of Paris slowly faded. New forms of entertainment emerged. Cinema, magazines, Hollywood glamour. Public obsession shifted from courtesans to movie stars. But the system did not disappear. It simply changed names. In the 1920s and 1930s, wealthy businessmen and celebrities still surrounded themselves with glamorous companions, though society described them differently. By the late 20th century, entirely new industries emerged around image, influence, luxury, and attention. The language evolved. The mechanics remained strangely familiar. Because the deeper story was never only about sex. It was about access. Access to elite circles, access to protection, access to money, survival, beauty, status, and influence in societies where opportunities for women were often brutally limited. And perhaps that is why this history still feels disturbingly modern. Today, social media creates global celebrities overnight. Luxury lifestyles are marketed constantly. Beauty becomes currency again and again across generations. Millions watch carefully curated lives online, often without seeing the financial arrangements, pressures, negotiations, or instability hidden behind the images. The parallels are impossible to ignore. In the 19th century, courtesans sold fantasy through salons, opera houses, handwritten letters, and whispered rumors. Today, fantasy travels through screens at the speed of light. Different century, same human obsession. But there is one final detail that historians rarely mention. Some courtesans became unexpected witnesses to history itself. They overheard conversations between politicians before wars began. They moved through rooms where industrial empires were negotiated. They saw the private fears of men who publicly appeared untouchable. In certain ways, these women understood power more intimately than almost anyone else in society. Not because they ruled nations, but because they watched the people who did. And maybe that is why society feared them so much. Because courtesans exposed a contradiction at the heart of modern civilization. The distance between public morality and private desire. The factories, the salons, the theaters, the hidden apartments glowing under gaslight. They all belong to the same world. A world where survival often depended less on virtue than on opportunity, beauty, timing, and the ability to navigate systems designed by others. History remembers queens and emperors, but sometimes the women, standing quietly beside them, understood the truth of society far better than the rulers themselves. And if we look closely enough, we may realize this story never truly ended. It only learned how to dress differently.